Let's lighten the load a little bit after all this politics. I'm joined now by Van Connor, who is a film and TV critic. Van, welcome.
And hello to you, Andre. How's it going?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Now, first of all, whereabouts are you from?
Oh, me, I'm from up north, so, you know, we go for a good old-fashioned seasonal Christmas viewing selection.
Well, I'm from Lancashire-ish.
So you get a good hearty by the fireplace movie pick. I get that, yeah.
Fair enough. Right. Now, listen, you are here to tell us all about some of your favourite Christmas films. What makes a great Christmas film?
Well, a great Christmas film for me is always, for one thing, it's got to have the big tree in there. It's got to be a little bit slushy. It's got to have some laughs. Nothing too hard and threatening, but something just a little bit cosy, you know?
Something for all the family to sit round and watch.
Well, exactly. But it's got to run the gamut. You can't be all kids. It's got to be, you've got to have some that work for the adults as well. But, you know, it's got to be slushy. You've got to have some snow. You've got to have some big woolly jumpers, some you know, nice British cottages in the middle of nowhere. You know, that kind of thing.
You say that, Van, but I genuinely think that Love Actually inflicted on us the Christmas jumper tradition, which has got way out of control.
You know, you say that, but if anything, if we've learned anything this year from the release of Knives Out, it's you can't put a price on a good old-fashioned woolly jumper.
Okay, so you've already given me a list, and it starts with Elf. Come on, tell us about Elf.
So Elf is, well, this is a modern classic. Pretty much everything on this list, really, this week, I mean, at least on TV, is a modern classic, with the notable exception, I think, probably of Home Alone, which I think is a bit more old-fashioned. But Elf is, it's a 2003 movie starring Will Ferrell. It comes to us from Jon Favreau, who, you know, 5 years after this would go on to invent the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Iron Man. But before that, of course, you know, he gave us what can only be described as one of the more modern Christmas classics. It's Buddy the Elf, the human being who is, you know, accidentally taken in by Santa on the North Pole, who gets raised as an elf and sets out to find his birth father. And I'll tell you what, I've got a clip for you, and it is the quintessential moment from this movie.
Why are you smiling like that?
I just like to smile. Smiling's my favorite.
Make work your favorite. That's your favorite, okay?
Okay.
Work is your new favorite.
Fine.
Time for the announcement.
Okay.
Okay, people, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., Santa's coming to town.
Santa! Oh, my God! Santa here? I know him.
Yeah, okay, so it's a pretty famous scene, that, isn't it?
It is, and the best part is, it's one of two movies. This is going head-to-head on Christmas Eve this year with another Christmas classic, a slightly older one, but this is going to be on ITV at 5:15 on Christmas Eve. The best part is, 15 minutes later on Christmas Eve, over on Channel 4, you're getting another Christmas classic, but they're going a little bit more weaponized, a little bit more aggressive. They're going with Home Alone.
Ah, I see. Okay, so, you know, I watched a programme about Home Alone the other day, about what actual injuries you would acquire if you were attacked in the way that those blokes who attempted to burgle the house were attacked.
You know what, there's a brilliant movie that came out, I think it was last year or the year before, called Better Watch Out. Mm-hmm. And it's it's a horror movie version of Home Alone. They even specifically reference Home Alone. It's what would happen if Kevin McAllister was a psychopath. And it's a brilliant movie, absolutely worth seeing, but it ain't no Home Alone, obviously.
Well,
Home Alone, you know.
The one I watched was where they'd re-edited it and made him into a psychopath on the, by re-editing, which I thought was really interesting.
Yes. I think, is that one of the Corridor Crew movies on YouTube? I think those things are amazing. And a really good Captain America Civil War one as well. That's worth seeing, where they made those R-rated. Home Alone, though, I mean, it is iconic. I mean, even more iconic, dare I say, than Elf.
Well, okay, but if you had a choice between Elf and Home Alone, and given that on Christmas Eve you're going to have that choice, which one do you go with?
I mean, in our house, it would be Elf, because my sister would kill us all in our sleep if we didn't pick Elf. I mean, me personally, I'd toss a coin on this one, but, you know, it's Macaulay Culkin versus Will Ferrell. That's a real Sophie's choice right there.
Macaulay Culkin, I mean, when was this film out? I mean, nowadays you see Macaulay Culkin and he looks like 1,000 years old.
I don't know, Macaulay Culkin nowadays just looks like Daniel Sloss, but Home Alone was, I think Home Alone was, 29 years ago? This was the Christmas 1990 was Home Alone. You had Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, I think it was 1990, that was only 2 years after that. I only learnt the other day that I think At $5.2 million for the sequel, Macaulay Culkin was the highest paid actor of 1992.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty impressive, actually, given he was like 10 years old or something.
Very much so. I would absolutely, I would kill.
And is he, I know nothing about film. Well, I know nothing about anything, but is he one of these people who, like, his mum and dad nicked all of his money and he's been suing them ever since? Because there's so many child actors who are like that.
Oh, no, I think he went the Ariel Winter route, where he had his siblings go and become his legal guardians so that his parents couldn't get his money. I think that was the whole deal with him.
It's all just a very murky world, isn't it?
It was. He had his friendship with Michael Jackson to focus on. Let's not dwell on that. Eh?
Yeah. I think best to move on overall. Hang on, do you have a clip of Home Alone too? Home Alone?
No, we don't. We deliberately spaced these out. So we went Elf. We've got a clip. We've got a clip for the next one.
Oh, okay. What's the next one then?
So the next one, this is Boxing Day on BBC One, 7:20. I was so happy to see this. This was getting a premiere because I'm such a huge fan of this movie. And this is from only within the last 2 years. This is Paddington 2, in which, Paddington Bear, trying to secure a pop-up book for his visiting Aunt Lucy, is framed for a crime he didn't commit by a devious failed actor played by a scene-stealing Hugh Grant. He is locked up in what can only be described as a Grand Budapest Hotel-style prison and forced to prove his innocence. And I've got this brilliant clip for you of Paddington with his family visiting, introducing them to his new prison family.
We think the thief you saw is part of a criminal gang, using the pop-up book as a treasure map.
Well, it's a theory. Have you found out who they are?
Not yet, dearie.
Maybe I should take a look.
I'm sorry, this is a private conversation.
Oh, it's all right, Mr. Brown. This is my friend, Knuckles.
Go here.
And this is Phibbs.
G'day.
Spoon.
Hello.
Jimmy the Snitch.
All right.
T-Bone.
What's that?
The Professor.
Oh.
Squeaky Pete.
Hello.
Double Bass Bob.
Hello.
Farmer Jack.
Okay.
Mad Dog. Johnny Cashpoint.
Ka-ching.
Sir Geoffrey Wilcott.
I hope I can rely on your vote.
And Charlie Rumble.
I love that. Knuckles,
Sir
Mad
Geoffrey
Dog,
Wilcox
and Sir
slays me.
Geoffrey Wilcox.
That slays me every time. And I think the day after a general election, that's a brilliant thing to go with.
Absolutely. I've never seen any of the Paddington films. I don't know if there's only two. But, well, by the way, because it's called Paddington 2, I'm assuming there's a Paddington 1. Are they any good?
There is a Paddington 1. Right, first of all, the first one is more of a Christmas movie than the second one, but they are both released at Christmas. They both have that Christmas feel. So there is a very specific reason, this is a Christmas premiere. They are both absolutely terrific. I wasn't really a Paddington fan sort of growing up. Obviously, I liked Paddington. Who doesn't when they're a kid? But, the movies are just tear-jerking, iconic Britishness at its peak. Brilliant cast,
and to be fair,
Ben Whishaw, brilliant.
When Hugh Grant is not moaning about the media, he's actually quite a good actor. Well, actually, I don't know whether he's a good actor, but he's always in good stuff.
To be fair to him, he doesn't need to be a good actor. He's just downright charming in this. He is a scene stealer, and he does brilliantly parody himself because he is playing a sort of a washed-up thespian who wants to be taken seriously, and it genuinely a brilliant movie. If you've never seen it, absolutely do check it out on Boxing Day. It's one that you just absolutely cannot miss. And funnily enough, Hugh Grant, of course, plays into our next film, which is the day after Boxing Day, which is Friday the 27th on ITV at 10:10 in the evening. This we're going a bit more adult with the next two. 10:10, Friday 27th. It's Love Actually.
Oh, everyone likes that. Everyone likes that film.
Oh, naturally.
It tends to be the film that I watch with my mum kind of before Christmas. And I think it replaced Four Weddings and a Funeral, and perhaps it's ready to be replaced by something else that's essentially a very samey British film, but it's still a classic.
Oh, it absolutely is. Love Actually, the best part is, I remember when Love Actually came out, and it really had its ass kicked when it came out by the critics, because obviously it opens with a very on-the-nose, very cloy line about 9/11. And so it's all downhill in the slushiness from there. But as time has gone by, people have sort of acclimatized to and come to really take the film to heart. And, the ensemble nature of it was deemed as the ultimate rom-com, the ultimate Christmas rom-com when it came out.
But it also effectively has a kind of ghost in it, doesn't it? Because Rowan Atkinson is obviously the spirit of Christmas, because he constantly intervenes in order to help people.
There very much is that, and I think somewhere there has to be a deleted scene in which he actually is outright stated to be the spirit of Christmas.
Yes.
But yeah, I think, to be honest, I've always taken it definitely as that.
Yeah, totally, because I think he saves somebody from cheating on the wife, and then he attempts to assist the young lad, pulling that American girl, bluntly.
Yeah, but he doesn't just save someone from cheating on his wife. He saves Alan Rickman from cheating on the goddess that is Emma Thompson. And as Mark Kermode famously says, you don't cheat on Emma.
The Emma Thompson, I have to say, necklace incident with the CD, I felt very, very sorry for it, even though it wasn't real, because she genuinely expected to open up that cripplingly expensive gold necklace, and it was a Joni Mitchell album instead.
You know what? I'm genuinely such a dumbass that years and years went by before my girlfriend pointed out to me that he in fact did cheat on Emma Thompson, that the scene heavily implied that he did. I never got that and just never clicked that he had. And until it was pointed out to me, and then thought, oh, okay, now I feel a bit bad, because I had always staunchly defended the character, and now I feel like a bit of an idiot.
What you reckon something happened? Because I don't know. I think that a present was bought, but I don't think it was clear to me.
Oh no, it's because you see Daniel Craig's girlfriend from the time wearing the necklace in the lingerie. I never really clicked that clearly meant he had been round there. So, yeah, he did.
Well, I don't think it necessarily does mean that, does it? What it means is he definitely bought it for her.
Hot German chick in the lingerie with a necklace? Yeah, he probably did.
I think part of it was, you probably would. Anyway, assuming you're not married, but anyway, swiftly.
Well, I mean, he was. That was the point.
Yeah, of course.
Well, let's talk about the holiday then, shall we?
Well, the holiday I have never heard of and I know nothing about. What is this?
Have you not heard of the? Wow. Okay, so Monday the 30th on ITV. A lot of this, like three of our 5 are on ITV. So Monday the 30th, ITV. 10:15. Andre, you got to watch this. I think this is one you might enjoy.
Okay.
So the basic premise here is you've got Kate Winslet, who is, the British rom-com love interest, the British rom-com lead. You've got Cameron Diaz, and they switch homes for Christmas.
Okay.
So Kate Winslet goes and lives in the LA mansion for Christmas, and Cameron Diaz goes and lives in the British cottage for Christmas, and each has their own sort of rom-com story. And
this sounds lame. This sounds lame.
It sounds lame. It is not. It's very charming. Of course, each one gets a love interest. I think Cameron Diaz's story is a little better than Kate Winslet. So Cameron Diaz falls in love with Kate Winslet's brother, who's played by Jude Law. And Kate Winslet falls in love with, I think, Cameron Diaz's neighbour, who's played by Jack Black. But I've got a really charming clip for you of Cameron Diaz trying to sleep with Jude Law.
Given that I'm in a bit of a personal crisis, and I find myself in a total stranger's home in a town that I can't actually remember the name of, and considering that you showed up and you're insanely good looking and really drunk and probably won't remember me anyway, I'm thinking we should have sex. If you want.
Is that a trick question?
I mean, that has not inspired me with any confidence whatsoever. You claim that this is not a dire film. I mean, okay, Van, let me just get this straight. What do the critics generally say about it? I mean, when you say it's great, are you out of kilter with other people?
I'm not generally out of kilter with other people. I mean, I'm out of kilter with most critics
on this film.
I prefer a popcorn muncher, but this one, to be fair, critics don't generally like slushy Christmas stuff anyway.
So are you saying Van, are you saying that everybody panned it, but you think it's good, and that's why you're trying to palm it off on me?
No, everyone panned Love Actually and Elf and Home Alone.
Doesn't mean they didn't pan the holiday as well.
Of course they pan the holiday as well.
Well,
they pan every Christmas film.
So I'm saying it sounds lame. The critics say it sounds lame. You say it sounds good. I'm not watching it.
It's Christmas, Andre. Everything's late.
All right, when's it on?
That's on Monday 30th, ITV, 10:15.
Right, I might have a look at it.
Treat yourself, man.
Treat myself. I mean, everyone hates it other than you. Right, and also, that dialogue was at best perfunctory, right? Anyway, what's next?
All right, so of course that's everything on. That's the big stuff on telly. Christmas at the cinema this year is not much better. There's only one Christmas film out at the cinema this year, really, and to be fair, you might struggle to catch it still showing at Christmas, and that is Last Christmas, which, funnily enough, sees the return of Emma Thompson. So, Last Christmas, you might have seen the marketing. It's all based on the music of George Michael and Wham. Obviously, the titular song features quite heavily in it. It is Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones. It's Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians. She's the down-on-her-luck Christmas store employee who meets the handsome stranger. She wants to be a singer. She needs to overcome her own neuroses to get there. I've got a clip for you of just the general charm that exists between these two beautiful people at Christmas.
I really enjoyed our walk today.
Ditto.
Would you like to repeat the experience?
Would you like to give me your number?
I don't have a phone.
Why?
Oh, I got so tired of staring at my hand all day. I mean, you should try it.
It's like saying you should try death.
I think somebody really wants to get hold of you.
Yeah, no, I know. Someone really isn't going to get the chance. No.
Ditch that. All of your stresses will just melt away.
Okay, that didn't sound much better than the holiday. But, I've got to say, the music, even though a heartwarming Christmas story to the tune of Wham doesn't sound that great. I mean, I must admit, George Michael and Wham's music was quite good.
Well, I mean, it's timeless. I mean, it's George Michael and Wham. I mean, the thing is, this again, this got its ass handed to it by critics. Don't quite know what they were expecting from a Christmas rom-com based on the music of George Michael. I gave it a pretty decent pass, to be honest. And also, I think if you're going to get two people this gorgeous to star in a movie, it's going to come with a certain quality caveat. But, it's got Emma Thompson, it's got Michelle Yeoh in it. It's a good time to be had. It's toe-tapping fun. If you can catch it, do. It's a good time.
I'll tell you what, my recommendation that I watched the other day, I think it was overrated, but I saw Rocket Man, which is now out on, I think, all the streaming services, about Elton John. I thought that was quite good.
No, that is quite a good movie. I think, perfectly honest, I think it's better than Bohemian Rhapsody, but that's just me.
I've not seen Bohemian Rhapsody. I was about to say, what's that about? But that would be a stupid question. Where would I find Bohemian Rhapsody?
I believe that's also out on DVD and streaming platforms now as well.
And specifically, obviously, it's about Queen, but what elements of Queen?
Well, I mean, that one goes down the route of, it's more about how Freddie Mercury came to be in Queen and then his own personal demons that, led to his own rise and fall. It's unlike Rocket Man, actually, which stages itself as a sort of modern fairy tale. Bohemian Rhapsody is a lot more weirdly far-fetched in a strange way.
But hang on a second. I mean, when you say the rise and fall of Freddie Mercury, I mean, did he have a fall other than getting ill? I mean, I don't know a lot about the guy. I don't know, was he into kind of, I don't know, drugs and partying and all that sort of thing, like in the film Rocket Man?
As the movie would depict it, yes, although I don't think the movie quite does him real justice.
Because I always get the impression that Freddie Mercury, in fact, I always get the impression that Queen actually secretly are all just geeks. I mean, very musically talented geeks, but geeks.
Of course they are. I mean, Brian May literally has a degree in astrophysics, so I'd argue say he's king geek.
I met him when I worked at the House of Commons because he came to lobby on the issue of badger culls. Right, and now to be fair to him, he it was really interesting the stuff he was saying, and he did persuade me that badger culls were a bad idea. But it was slightly surreal having this extremely famous rock star talk to you about badgers. No disrespect to the badgers, but it just didn't marry in my mind. You know what I mean? It's like having custard on a steak or something like that. It was just a bit strange.
Fish fingers and custard, eh?
Or having the Death Star visit Downton Abbey, in the TV show, and you just think, well, that can't be right. That doesn't make any sense.
No, I absolutely agree. But that's Brian May for you. He's always been a contradiction. It says, in fact, I've just watched the new Michael Bay movie in which Ben Hardy features quite prominently, and I know him. Most people seem to know him from EastEnders. Apparently, I know him literally as Roger Taylor from Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, okay. So was he any good in the film?
He actually was very good. He a lot of really great stunts in there, actually.
See, I'm going to be totally ignorant. Apart from Brian May and Freddie Mercury, I mean, the rest are all just a mishmash to me. I mean, you know, I roughly recognise them, but you know, it's like right said Fred, there was a third member. Who is he? Right, whatever happened to him? Or the ginger one from Blur. Right, do you remember him? He always just looked like they invited the mate along, right? or hang on, members of Oasis that weren't the Gallagher brothers.
Oh, yeah, I mean, other than Giggsy, who remembers any of them?
Giggsy? I don't remember him.
You see, clearly I'm more of an Oasis aficionado.
Anyway,
that's what that is.
Here's the more significant question. Are Christmas films getting better or worse?
That is a really subjective question, to be honest.
Well, you're hip to be subjective, pal, so get on with it.
Generally speaking, they tend to become I think they're a lot more populist now than they used to be. I think you look at Netflix, for instance. Netflix have found something of a foothold in let's go down making them as slushy as possible. You tend to find in cinemas, they tend to be a little bit more alternative. I mean, you get a lot more unique a Christmas film in cinemas now than you do anywhere else. One of my favourite Christmas movies ever, actually, is a very Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas, which is only 6 years old. That's a movie I watch every year like clockwork, and that is a wacky 3D stoner comedy that just happens to be set at Christmas, feature heavy pot smoking and a lot of rappers.
But if you look at the Richard Curtis films, Four Weddings Between and Notting Hill, Bridget Jones, Love Actually, all those sorts of caper. I mean, actually, there's a degree. I hate myself for saying this. There's a degree of sexism here, isn't there? Because actually, women quite like these films, and particularly, women of a certain age quite like these films, and the fact that it appeals specifically to them is why the critics don't like them.
Well, yes, there is that, but I mean,
I don't know whether it's sexism or snobbery, but it's there's an element of both.
There is always it's more snobbery than anything else, because I don't think sexism really comes into it with critics. It does tend to be more snobbery, and it does tend to be the more popular something is, the more it tends to get critically reviled. I mean, I famously disconnect my brain at the door when I assess anything, because I think that's the best way to start with something. If it requires your brain as it goes on, then please, by all means, reconnect it. But, start from a place of disconnection is always where I go with a movie. And, Christmas movies, by virtue of being about Christmas, tend to require a few IQ points shaving off to begin with. It's up to those movies it's up to the movies to earn those IQ points back.
But also, when you try and kind of be really, not arty, but when you try and be really realistic or whatever, that can fall flat as well. I'll tell you what, I hated the film Dunkirk, simply because it was just an empty beach in Dunkirk. And of course, because they filmed it in Dunkirk without CGI, the buildings had all been bombed, right? So it was all just new buildings and stuff. I just thought that they took that too far to try and kind of be intellectually rigorous. They came across stupid.
I can tell you, if you think Dunkirk is a bit trying, wait until you see 1917, which I promise is not quite the masterpiece that everyone will tell you it is.
Really? And obviously that's about the First World War, but which side, the Western Front or the Eastern Front?
Oh, it's a real-time thriller set just behind enemy lines in France.
Interesting. I might like that. I was about to say I won't like it, but I might actually like that. That might be quite good.
It's all about the gimmicks.
Is it a bit much?
It's all about the gimmick, which is let's make it look like one shot and in real time. Doesn't quite work as well as everyone would have you believe, largely because it rips off three very specific films, and I seem to think that everyone who's falling all over it, I don't think really remembers that those three films exist. Which is funny, because one of them is Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, well, I quite like Saving Private Ryan. I'll tell you what, my favourite bit in Saving Private Ryan was that kid who used to pray when he shot people. Do you know that one who sounded like he was from Arkansas or something, the sniper, and he was just absolutely brilliant. Who is it?
Barry Pepper. He's Barry Pepper. He starred in the movie Crawl this year.
Barry Pepper? Is that his real name?
Barry Pepper. Most people seem to think he's Alex Winter, but they are two entirely separate people.
All right, I'm sorry, I'm just going to get my phone out and look. Oh, sorry, Barry Pepper, did you say? Right, it's offering me... Pepper! It was offering me a brand of pizza. Barry Pepper. Papa John's. Barry Pepper. Okay, fine. Yes, that is him, without a doubt. Okay, so look, we're going to have to wrap this up, but what sort of these films that you've talked about, Elf, Home Alone, Last Christmas, Paddington 2, The Holiday, a couple of others.
No, actually,
Which one would you pick?
Any of those? I mean, I'm always going to sit and watch Elf every time. I think Home Alone's a classic. But I do think, because you've not seen it, I think you should watch The Holiday on
I think that's not going to happen. So, Van, where can we read more or see more of your reviews?
You can find me every week on Paul Ross's Extra Time show on TalkSport, where we pick the best movies on TV every week. You can find me on podcast platforms on Friday on the Off-Screen show. And you can find me on Eastville with Jamie East, Bob Mills on Saturday, and loads of shows scattered throughout Talk Radio.
Why do you and I not know each other? Because you're all over Talk Radio. Is that me being lame or you being lame?
I think we're just ships in the night, Andre. That's what that is.
Well, be here soon. Be here very soon.
Okay. Sounds a plan to me.
Van Connor, thank you very much. Now, we've only got a couple of seconds left.